welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and recaps of some of our favorite TV shows. So if that is content that you enjoy, you find value in it, make sure you're hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, request notifications, and
Share.
There we go. Listen, we got this thing on lock now. All right, so Married at First Sight. Couples are going home. And now the real fun begins.
Man, I was like, that normally happens 10 years in. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. It happens 7 years.
They are compressing lifetime of marriage into a week and 2 weeks. Yeah. So they are all headed there on their way home. We kind of see them getting on the airplanes and everything. Yeah. Something I didn't particularly care for was Johnny taking the video of Bao and them showing it. Just because that's a sore point for her, right?
Right. And I think you need to show that you're protecting your spouse.
Right.
If you know your spouse snores, then you should protect them like you don't want that to be heard on a plane because they feel self-conscious anyway. Mm-hmm. Help them out, you know? So, yeah. So, got a lot to learn.
Yep. So... All right, so well, let's just stick with Johnny and Bao because there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on.
They get back to their space, and of course, you know now they are putting them all in the same apartment complex, if you will, right?
They've done that last 2 seasons,
at least, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's helpful because it allows the couples to interact with each other, what have you, but also it gives them the ability that they don't have to feel like I'm moving into his space or her space.
Correct.
So he likes the space, but she finds some things to complain about. And he says that she kind of takes the fun out of stuff, right?
Right. Which, I mean, it just depends if it's not your style, you know, then I can see how you might complain about a couple of things and how you prefer stuff. Right. So, but overall, there was nothing wrong with the place. No. You know. I
mean, it's a basic apartment. No, it's not.
I would say more than basic. We lived in basic apartments.
It's not a basic apartment.
There's a wine refrigerator, chiller in their apartment. So I wouldn't call that basic.
Yes. It's not
it's high luxury. I call that high luxury. There's a wine chiller.
It's a nice apartment. Right.
It's a nice apartment. So they're having dinner and, you know, he indicates he feels overwhelmed. And so he's like, I'm not staying here tonight. I need to be by myself because she says she ain't going to shower.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the showering issue. So, you know, she says she will not shower before bed. And he wants to make it kind of no, I need you to shower before bed. And she's like, well, I'm not going to do that.
I'll sleep on the couch. She's like, I'll sleep on the couch.
So yeah, he does go back home he says for a few days. I think it may have only been a day or two.
It was one night.
Yeah.
It was one night.
But the thing that she kind of brings up, which I think is a very valid point, is if that's what you're going to do this early in, what happens when there's other issues that creep up, right? Are you going to tuck tail and run and go someplace else, right? Now, hear me. There have been times where I'm like, you know what? I just need to go for a drive. But I come home.
Well, you never left after we had an argument.
Right.
Let's be clear. It wasn't like you left after an argument. So I think him saying because of what she presented in that moment, he left, he shouldn't have left.
Right.
Now, if you need to feel like I need to go, hey, you know, I might want to go out and just kind of clear my mind, or I'm going to take a walk around the block because I feel like I need to be able to kind of, you know, process what's going on. And y'all can agree on that, then you know, or I'll go in my bedroom, you stay out here. There has to be a way where you can compromise that. But when you ain't going to have an option when the cameras are gone and you make a decision on your place. Right. So you're going to have to find a different way than the options, you know, that he took.
So he does come back. They kind of talk through that, right?
Yeah.
Then they start to see each other other places because, again, they're moving into a common place.
Correct.
So it's interesting just to, you know, from their perspective, of course, to see how their spouse has decorated their home, kind of the things that are in there.
And what was common.
Right.
Like they had a bidet. Both of them had bidets.
So she She may not shower all the time as much as Johnny does.
Cleaning her behind.
She's making sure she's fresh, right? At least in one area.
Right. Right.
They have a cute little lightsaber duel.
Right. So they're playing, you know, they're enjoying the moment, which he says he wants.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then they do have a meeting with Pastor Cal. Everybody, in fact, had a meeting with Pastor Cal. So they have a meeting with Pastor Cal. And one of the things that comes up with them, of course, is that she doesn't feel like he initiates as much as she does. And she says she doesn't feel like she's attracted, like he's attracted to her. And he kind of does say, well, yeah, because you do this little stuff that is a turnoff for me.
Right. And I was like, hold on, the person who wants to be touchy. And I thought he was being affectionate. And then I'm like, wow, finding out that he really was turned off by what she was doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like he's trying to find things personally.
Right.
He's trying to find things, you know, because he talked about everything else.
Right.
Even if they were right in the moment, like, why do you do that?
Right. And the point is, for those that may not have seen it, or kind of just a reminder, he said that she kind of comes off a little too giddy, almost like childlike.
Right.
And it's like, she's like, that's how she is. No one sees that. She's being
playful with someone she's in a romantic relationship.
Right. She said not everybody gets to see that side of her. That's what she does when she's with a romantic partner that she's really feeling. So, and Pastor Cal points out that's not a Bao problem. That's a Johnny problem. And there's a lot of things I have to almost repent, because I was looking at Bao as being kind of initially being one of the factors why they may not be together. But really, I think Johnny is the one who, if this marriage doesn't work out, I think it's Johnny and his almost rigidity of certain things that is going to prevent them from moving forward.
Yeah, because she talks about being the most emotionally mature one in the relationship. Yeah. And it kind of just, it brought to my mind, like, you can have great chemistry and have things in common, but the baggage you carry, the things from your childhood or things that you taking on because what you feel like needs to be in a relationship or you can't bend towards causes relationships not to work out. It's not that you didn't have enough in common, not that you didn't have any sexual chemistry or chemistry at all. It's because you allow all these other things that you won't deal with in being an individual affect your relationship as a couple. Yeah. I was like,
So, all right. And so then Rachel and Jose. All right. They, of course, have already consummated their relationship, as we find out with their conversation.
We knew. It was like, I wish they could have told us exactly when, because I was like, they just got back to the apartment, so that means it had to have been at the honeymoon. I think, time frame. Right. They were too kissy.
They talk about how she has multiple alarms to wake up, and I've done this sometimes, right? You have your alarm. Listen, especially, like, I'll be honest, when we're like getting up really early to catch a plane, I will set my alarm, and because I know me, if I'm really tired, I'll turn the alarm off and I'll go right back to sleep. So I set an alarm, and then I set an alarm after the alarm, and I might set a third alarm just to remind me. Now, mine aren't 15 minutes apart. Mine are typically like 5 minutes apart. Now, what irritates you is that I have an alarm kind of going off sometimes at different places. Like I might leave my watch in one room and it goes off in the other room.
Either way, I'm a light sleeper. When we know I have to go and be somewhere, I just got to get up. So that's just, I feel you, Jose. That's
Rachel, I got you. All right. Too much. But they kind of visit each other's houses, and so she visits his house and sees that budget board.
And she freaks out.
She has a panic attack almost, right?
She was like, oh my God.
She's like, I can't deal with it.
I was like, whoa, hold on. Just mark on their vacation.
Right.
Just mark it in there.
I wonder what would happen if she erased some of his numbers or switched them around.
Oh, he would have a fit. They would be in a fist fight.
Hey. But then he goes to her house, and he starts picking at some of the things, because initially when he walks in, she has some empty water bottles, and he's like, oh, she kind of hoards stuff. And then they get to her desk, and so she has something where she gets pencils from the different places that she's gone, right?
I kind of remember, yeah.
I mean, my dad, when he traveled, he would get us these little like pewter mugs or something from every place that he traveled when he was traveling for work. So I get it, right?
Yeah.
But he was like, do you really need all those pencils?
I'm like, again, we get caught up in our own thing, you know. I mean, like, but they're like specific from trips.
Right.
So maybe you can buy her a nice little board or something to stick it
Right.
on. I mean, there's a way to do everything.
Right.
We just got to think outside the box.
Because again, one of her key issues and one of her key things is not feeling like she's losing herself
Right.
in the relationship, right?
Right.
So she's even like, can't I have my pencils
Right.
on my own desk
Right.
somewhere in the
have
house?
my own desk,
and he, you know, so he's gonna have to loosen up on that.
and she's gonna have to voice her opinion.
Right.
Like, listen, if we're gonna stay married, you know, I'm gonna have a desk. This is on my desk. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to look at it, but it's gonna be on my desk.
Right.
And I feel like if she's stern enough, and because he is caring and want to be a good husband, he's gonna hear that and like, okay, I need to back off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. And so then they do meet with Pastor Cal as well. And their big issue, of course, is money.
Right.
What to do with it, right?
Right.
Because he is already planning for kids and next house, and
he's like, baby, you need a new car. And she's like, it's
she's
running.
like, the car can get me where I need to
running.
go. She's like, I want to go to Europe. So she wants to go to
You
Europe.
can wait 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and you could see the look on her face like, I don't want to wait 2 years, right?
Right.
Because her thing is she wants to experience it with her husband. Definitely get it. If you love to travel, you're now married, you want to experience that with your spouse.
Right. Because maybe they find something else new when you go there and discover it.
Right. Or it's also just showing them a new place, right?
Right.
Like, you know, me being from Chicago, when we would go to Chicago, I would take you around, I would show you places and let you experience it with me, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's what she wants, but he is like, no, we got to wait on that. We got to get a new car. And so Pastor Cal tells them basically they got to find that balance. They have to find the balance of, and he calls it, I like the way he put it. He said, you're the science, talking to Jose, and Rachel is the art. He's the one who's scientific and logical about everything. She's the one who wants to experience it, and they've got to figure out how to make that work for them as a couple. Right?
Yeah. Because he's like, she's here to help you to have fun in life.
Right.
And you're here opposite to make sure that becomes a balanced lifestyle, you know.
So, all right. And then Brett and Ryan.
I think they're getting they're getting along well.
Yes.
Ooh, if I can get that out.
Yes.
You know, their thing was the stressor with the dog. So we got 2 couples again with dogs. And so they look like the same dog, just a larger size.
Yeah. She has a little toy, whatever.
Terrier, poodle.
Whatever. Named Baxter, who is just doing parkour all over the house. He's just jumping here and there.
Right. And he's like 12 years old. I was like, dang, I hate to see when you were 3.
And then he has a dog, Maxie, was it?
Yeah, like Maxie.
Maisie or something like that.
No, Daisy, yes.
No, it wasn't Daisy. It was Maisie. It started with M.
It started with M?
Yeah, it was like
Moxie?
Moxie. Something. Y'all know. Put it in the comments. Let it remind us what it was. It's not in my notes.
How much we care about the dog. But that dog is a puppy, and that dog was looking at that little dog like, hey.
And they were getting along at first, and then her little demon dog started getting.
Why did he gonna become a demon?
Because he started growling and started.
I think he was trying to protect her, because it was just more like out of the blue. He's like, well, hold on, where you coming? Why are you messing with my owner?
But they were cool at first, and then he just decided, you know, it's
because it's little dog syndrome,
right? Because when we had our puppy, my puppy Rot, and the bigger dog. Our puppy at some point started just attacking the bigger dog, right? So maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. And so they get a tour of each other's apartment again. Kind of the biggest thing for his apartment, he has a deer head in his bedroom.
I would have seen that it should have been like in the living room.
Right. I can get that. I can get it in a den. I could even get it in the office. I get it.
That's the whole point. You want to talk about you making the kill, right? And how many bucks, the horns, the number of horns and stuff it has on it.
Gotcha.
So that's a talking piece.
Right.
Not in my bedroom.
Not sleeping with
the head staring at me at night.
Something I've been killed and shot.
And then it's looking at me, or I wake up suddenly and that's what's.
Nah, that.
She's like, you're not fond of this. Are you really here?
He was like, no, we can move it. That's not going to be a sticking point. It's just a weird thing to me. have it in his bedroom, right?
I'm glad it's not as over his headboard. That'd have been even.
He might have moved it from there. All right, so they do meet with Pastor Cal. They have not consummated yet, right?
No.
But they like each other.
Yeah, they're progressing.
Yeah.
You know, they're touchy-feely, and I feel like it's going to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're trying to learn each other. It's only been a week,
right.
And I think they're just the type of people who are more laid back. But they're comfortable. They're having fun.
But she's more laid back than he is regarding that. So you can see on him, he wants to get there.
What man doesn't? I've never seen a man yet, and especially in 13th season of first, who didn't want to get there.
He's like, can I get a little? So she is still, because again, she hasn't been with anybody for a while too.
Right.
So she's taking it slow because she wants to get there, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since it's only been 2 years,
right?
And then yes, this is the person you marry, but you want to make sure you're going to stay married after the 8 weeks. You give it up to the brother you married that you divorced after holding out 2 years. I can see why she's waiting.
At least you're getting some while you're getting it, while you can. All right.
Oh, because you're saying she may not. It may be a while again before she gets.
It might be another 2 years. Just saying.
It's available.
Hey, and you have every right and nobody's gonna look at you wrong because you did it.
Marriage bed is not the file.
Listen. All right. So I'm good with them. I think that they're progressing well, right?
Yeah.
I think he still is holding back some.
Oh yeah, it's possible.
As far as just his emotions and kind of what his thoughts are, but I think that they're progressing. I think they're moving forward well.
I think once he gets into his country stuff, should see if she's gonna.
But that might be a deal breaker for her if she sees too many flags flying around and all that stuff. All right. So then.
He wearing the flag, got a flag on his hat.
Listen, and then
flagged out. Flagged out.
Achy breaky heart and all over the place. All right. So then
electric slide slow.
Yeah, okay. Line dancing. All right. So Myrla and Gil. So Gil, let me know what you think, because Gil for me is doing the most subtle. They're kind of overt really, but he is doing the most insult. He's doing the most uppercut type of insults to her. He's like, "You're bougie. You're a princess," right? It's just like he keeps throwing these jabs.
It's just so passive aggressive, and I feel like it feels like there needs to be this big conversation because there's this big elephant in the room.
Yeah. There's several elephants in the room.
Well, there is, but they need to start getting rid of them.
Yeah.
You know.
So they come into the apartment like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Gil is like, every time we go into a new place, I want to carry over the threshold. She's like, it's corny. It's corny.
I'm like, okay.
So.
But she did say at the end that if that's something he wants to do,
she'll be okay with it.
She'll be okay with it.
But it's corny, is what she said, right?
I don't know if I want you know how many different places we lived, and you decide you're gonna just pick me up every time.
That ain't happening. We got into our first place. We good. If you need to be carried every other place.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what she's getting at. I'm trying to give her that. I get that.
Yes, I get that. Right. But here's a newsflash though. She finally did like something.
Oh, she was very impressed. She was impressed with the apartment.
She liked something. So
she was like, "Oh, I like this."
It took us a while to get here, but Myrla finally liked something.
That's why that wasn't a basic apartment.
True. All right. At least not yet. Because she's going to find something. All right. And then so they go to her apartment. Mm-hmm. And here's one of those not so subtle jabs. She's like, "Wow, you got a lot of pictures of yourself." She's like, "Oh."
She said, "Oh, these are about my trips." But she's like the main focus.
Right. He's like, "But you have to see yourself at these places every time, huh?" Okay.
It's like the pictures, the place is the background.
Right. It's like, oh, there's the Eiffel Tower peeking out over my head.
I think that's the Eiffel Tower peeking over me.
And then he goes to her closet.
Now, see this, I think he got stressed out. And then he started asking her, how much does this cost? See, I would be a little offended. I'm like, okay, let's just slow down here. Take a deep breath. Why are you asking me about all these numbers about my closet? But I'm just saying. You start like, well, how much that cost? How much was this? And how much was that? That's a little much.
All right. So here's the thing. If I go in your closet and I see Louis, Gucci, Michael Kors, Donna Karan,
Jimmy
Choo, Red Bottoms, I'm seeing all this. I'm like, whoa, right? Now, and let us know, because we forgot to go back and watch it, but she talks about her shoes, right? She talks about her closet. She values it at about $15,000.
That's what she tells him, because he asks, like, if you had to get insurance for these items, how much insurance would you need to cover it?
Right.
So she said between 10 and 15,000 is what she would need.
That's what she spent in a year, right?
And so what our controversy is, and you tell us, I thought she indicated she bought 2 or 3 pairs of shoes a year. And you think she said what?
She does that 3 times a year. So she goes and buys 2 and 3 pairs of shoes that are $600, $800, $1,000. She does that. She buys 2 to 3 pairs of those 3 times a year for a total of about 9 shoes a year.
I don't think she said that, because that wouldn't make sense. Why would you be difficult? Why don't you say I buy 9 pairs?
Because she was trying to downplay what she was spending. She was trying to downplay it, right? Because he's asking those questions, because he's looking in like he's calling her princess. He's saying she's bougie, so she's trying to downplay it. But the fact is that later on with the meeting of Pastor Cal, Pastor Cal asked Gil, and Gil's like, yeah, it's about $75,000 worth of clothing. And she's like, no, it's $10,000-$15,000. And
she just says, no, it's not that much.
Right. And then Pastor Cal asks, okay, how many red bottoms do you have? I don't know. He's like, okay, exactly. Because that $75,000 is probably closer to the truth than the $10,000 to $15,000, right? So anyway, they have that conversation. She does go to his house and meets his dog, Hype, right? Hype looked like he on his last legs.
And he's supposed to be not that old.
Hype.
He doesn't seem that Hype.
Hype was, in fact, Hype was trying to, what's her name, was holding out her hand for Hype. And he kept like, like Hype is blind.
Hype is blind. Leave Hype alone.
I'm concerned about Hype.
You're concerned about Hype?
I'm concerned about Hype because Myrla might do something. I'm not.
What?
Myrla don't like the dog.
So she might help in his life if he's not in good health. Is that what you say?
She might give him a bad pork chop or something.
I don't think she's a psychopath. I don't think she would do anything to the dog.
All right. I'm joking, y'all. Before y'all put us in the comments and call us ASPCA. All right. So they have a meeting with Pastor Cal as well. Mm-hmm. And of course, the conversation comes up about intimacy and, okay, y'all haven't consummated. Cool. Mm-hmm. What about kissing?
Nope. On the cheek.
And Pascal was like, well, you cheeked him at the wedding. And Gil was like, yeah, I'm still getting the cheek, basically.
And he's like, okay, when is this going to happen? She's like, oh, is this my time? It's going to eventually happen. But Gil did say, I'm putting my foot down. Listen, you don't kiss me in 8 weeks, I will divorce you. I will let you go.
Because there's no need. Let's just be honest.
Sounds like you're not into me.
Right. If you go 8 weeks with the height of your intimacy is holding hands and some caressing and cuddling. If that's the height of your intimacy of 8 weeks in a marriage, right? Then, and again, you're spending all this time. It's not like they're dating, right? It's not like they're dating where they don't see each other every day or, it goes 3 or 4 days before they see each other. They may just talk. They're married. So if you're talking about going 8 weeks without so much as a kiss, because she said a peck on the lips is outside of her comfort zone.
Right.
So, yeah. So listen, Gil. And I think Gil is not having it.
Well, I hope he's talking to somebody because...
Well, we see he's talking to Zach in the next episode, right? But
yeah, because he needs to, because again, I I think the tactics of being passive aggressive is not the right one.
Right.
I think he should be really honest about how he feels, that I'm not used to, you're not the type of woman I would date.
Right.
Nor be the opposite.
Right.
I'm assuming she dates high-end men.
She needs a conversation with Kevin Samuels. That's what she needs.
Oh yeah, that would be a very interesting conversation.
If you don't know, just Google Kevin Samuels. He has some very interesting conversations
about women and
high value men and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would be
an interesting one, right? All right. And so then, but she also says that she could see herself going the entire process without kissing him.
Right, because he asks her, like, could you go this whole process without kissing me?
She says probably. Possible.
And he's like, oh, no, it ain't going down like that. You can't make it through this process, but you ain't gonna make it after this process.
Right.
So you can play coy if you want.
Yeah. All right, and then our couple that we finally get to talk about because they actually are together again.
Yes.
Zach and Michaela.
Our COVID couple.
COVID couple, right? So Zach does get cleared. He is cleared to fly back.
Thank God he got cleared.
Yes, to Houston, and he does something really cool. He sweet. He tells her that he's still positive, so that he can come and surprise her.
Yeah.
Right.
So he brings flowers, and she's all surprised.
And she's got a 1 week gift for him. Looks like some body wash and some other stuff in there, right?
So it's like,
cool. Then their dogs meet.
Yes, and they seem to get along pretty well.
Yeah.
So the meetings went well. So, okay, go ahead. I want to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have this good conversation about fighting, right? Because he's like, I'm looking forward to our first fight. Which I don't know that, the way he said it, and I think what he meant was the emotions that come sometimes with that first fight. It does, weird way, help to solidify a relationship in some respects. It does show some passion. It does show that there's some feelings, some emotions there, right?
Well, and how people respond when they're in a difficult situation and have to talk about difficult things.
And he poses that question, and they talk about it, and she's like, she doesn't see herself running off, what have you. And
she's like, it's abandonment. She indicates it's abuse.
Yep.
If someone leaves the house when they're having an argument.
Yep.
And she makes all these comments about how this is not healthy and that's abusive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
So then we see, whenever something's about to go down on Married at First Sight, they show
video.
like the hidden camera angle, right?
Right.
It's all black and white and grainy. 7:15
a.m.
And so you see him leaving the house, right? He's taking one of the dogs. He leaves the house. Then, of course, we fast forward a little bit, and now we see Michaela come out of the bedroom.
Right, looking around for him like he a lost puppy. Like he lost. Zach, are you under the table?
She looking around for him.
Zach.
Then she gets it looks like cleaning supplies, and she has a Florida Evans from Good Times moment where she's like, damn, Zach, why'd you leave me? She throws stuff down.
Oh my God, you went there. I mean, you think she's about to have a mental breakdown?
She had a flip.
Oh,
right?
I was like, what in the world are we on? This is very heightened. And so then she go back in the room.
And she get her bags.
Like she had two big blue, like how did you not unpack it? That was the quickest pack. I was like, did she unpack? But God, she got them two big bags. She was like, deuces.
Out.
You left? I'm going like, hold on. I thought he went to work or went to the gym. Right. He looked like he was dressed for the gym. I was like, maybe he went to the gym.
He didn't take any bags with him or anything. So
right, I thought he went to the gym.
All of his stuff was still there.
I thought he went to the gym. I didn't even see the dog. I thought he went to the gym and didn't tell her that he was going to the gym and he was going to be back.
Right.
So I get like you'd be nervous, like, oh my God, he left. I don't know what happened. Is he okay? My first thing is are you okay? Did someone hit you over the head? Did you fall down an elevator shaft? Did you get in your car and get in an accident? Something happened to you. But she's like, I text and he's not answering my phone calls. And then all of a sudden he comes back And I don't know how many times he left and came back.
Right. So we don't see him coming back. We just see him
Right.
and her sitting on the couch.
Right.
Because now they're waiting for Pastor Cal.
Right.
Awesome timing, right?
Right.
Pastor Cal is supposed to meet with them.
Right. So she was like, oh, you really want to know what's wrong with me? Right. So they're having about to have
Here's the thing. He's asking what's wrong. And she's like, should he know what's wrong with me? Well, no, you all have not had time to be together. You've had conversations, yes, but you really have not had time to bond as a couple. So no, he doesn't know. So yes, break it down for him.
But that's a traditional thing in marriage, and you're not talking. You're supposed to know why I'm feeling this way. You don't remember what you did because you should have known what you did because it irritated me. So I mean, every couple goes through that, but for them in their first day together again after being gone so long, so long, it was like so quick. Mm-hmm. So Pastor Cal comes into this.
Well, before Pastor Cal comes in, they have the conversation, and she's like, "You left, basically, right?" And so he's telling her, "Okay, I accidentally fell asleep in the room with the dogs," because he was trying to get the dog, of course, new apartment, trying to get the dog to calm down. Mm-hmm. I get it. So he fell asleep in the other room with the dog. And then when he woke up, he's like, okay, let me take the dog to the dog sitter or wherever he was taking him. Yeah. And then he says he came back about 9:15. Mm-hmm. She's like, you a liar.
Yeah, but he was like, but you were gone. You weren't here when I got back.
So even if the time was off as far as what time he got back, the fact is she wasn't there.
She wasn't there. So you can't say I lied if when I come back you ain't there. Right. Because then he was like, well, let the producer. I'll be like, let the producer give you the tape.
Run the tape back, right?
Day stamp.
So he starts looking at her like, whoa.
Red flag.
Time out.
I've been in this
relationship. Flag on the play.
Y'all black women, boy.
He was like,
I ain't doing this.
And then all of a sudden there's a
right. He like
so Pastor Cal comes in and he immediately is like,
he looking like
something right here.
You can feel probably the tension in the room was thick.
So I mean, because they're sitting on opposite ends of the couch and everything, and so what the issue really is, and again, kind of what we talked about earlier, that sometimes there's other issues that are coming out that just have a funny way of coming out, because her issue really is her dad, who was her protector, her main person, him passing away. Now she feels like she's got to put all of her trust in this man, in Zach, and not knowing if she can do that. And it's scary. Yeah. If that's been your experience, it's a scary thing. Right. But even there's a point where Zach is like, you know what? At first Zach was like, okay, whatever. And then, he's Pastor Cal's like, kind of close the gap.
Like, okay, you're hearing her out. You see what she's saying. It's more than about you just not leaving a note. There's more in depth than that. You have your two parents. Right. She doesn't. Right. So he tries to console her. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. She kind of rejected him again, whether she was joking or not.
Right.
Let me just say this: if you keep giving the wrong signal, and even if it's as a joke, eventually that wrong signal is going to become the only signal that I receive. Right. Yeah. Because she starts squinting and making weird faces and stuff like that. Even Pastor Cal's like, "What's that about? What's this about?" Right. So for them, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have not had the time to bond over a honeymoon, like the other couples have, right? So but just from what I'm seeing on social media, I'm still very concerned about them as a couple. I think that if they put the effort into it, they could make it, but I'm not sure that they will.
You have to fight fair,
right?
You have to fight fair.
Yes.
And what she said that she wouldn't do, she did. She took all her stuff and left.
I don't think she fights fair.
And so what she should have done was just stayed. If she didn't have any place to go or go to work, and she says she's text them and everything, then she just say, okay, let me see if he comes back in a little bit and then have the conversation like,
or even if he steps out just goes to get some coffee or just goes out for a run or whatever, even if she has to step out to clear her head or what have you, and then comes back. But the fact that she picked up all of her bags and was like, I'm out.
Well, because you out. And
Because,
I was like,
because
what?
I perceive you to be out, even though all your stuff is still there.
Because a lot of the time, again, it's in your head.
Right.
I'm sorry. This stuff is in your head. And so then you overthink things and then you react.
Right.
And that's the problem. Instead of counting the, like some people say you should count to 30, you know, and then settle your mind and then reevaluate and look from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Because the point is that you still got to hear people out. But there has to be a self-awareness of, you know, what the true issue is.
Right.
I'm saying this is the issue, but really this all stems back to my dad being dead. Right. Or me never having a father figure that can like filter through the men that's coming in my life. Because we know that she had a very healthy sex life, but it didn't talk about her having
a few weeks before she got married.
Right. But it doesn't talk about her having a healthy relationship in the past. Right. So with those things being the case, here you go, then you just all this balled in together, we have this situation. Yeah. Absolutely. So okay. Yeah, I'm gonna work through that.
Well, listen, I think that's it for this episode of Married at First Sight. In the trailer, of course, they show all the highlights, even and a lot of times out of context. So we'll see. But there is a scene where Johnny is like crying on the shoulder of Jose, and Zach and Gil seem to have a conversation about how Gil is feeling. So we'll kind of see. But again, let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we will see you again next time. Be blessed. Have a great one.